Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be breaking down and reviewing the 7th game in the Spyro franchise, Spyro Attack of the Rhynocs. This game was developed by Digital Eclipse and was made just for the Game Boy Advance. This is the 3rd Spyro game that was developed for the Game Boy. The game starts off with the professor blindfolding Spyro and bringing him to his secret lab. He lets us know that he has some great surprises for us. The first one allows us to have an eye on Ripto. The second surprise is a virtual playground to help learn mechanics. Your typical run, jump, and hover. The third surprise was his latest invention, Butler. Butler's purpose was to help around the lab, but that quickly backfired. He quickly malfunctions, and it's our job to turn him off. Just as we shorted him out, the machine got overloaded that helped keep an eye on Ripto. The only way to fix this is to find all the hearts of each land. Ripto quickly appears, and he disappears with the professor. We were warped back to Dragon Shores where we start out. This is considered our first land since there's a heart you can capture here. While exploring Dragon Shores, we run into Terry, who says since the Rhynocs came, they stole all the dragon toys, and the only thing he has to keep them amused is the heart. If we can find all the dragon toys, he'll give us the heart. We also venture to Moneybags Vault, which is in every area, and these you can typically find gems, chests, and or the items you may be looking for. After leaving the vault, we quickly run into Hedwig, who lets us know after the Rhynocs appeared, all the toddlers disappeared and asked to help keep an eye out. After finding a toddler, they usually drop items that we're looking for. You can find the first toddler right behind Hedwig, who drops a box with a lid, not an item we are currently looking for, but we still take it. We then venture into our second land, Fairy Library. We are met by Cookie, who lets us know if we can flame the bug, they will help us get around, which I thought was a cool way of transportation. After getting to the top, Doodle will ask us if we can light the fire. All we have to do is flame it. After doing so and talking to her again, she gives us a scroll that allows us to use our ice breath again. We are met by Clara and Bubbles upon entering the main hall. They need our help to help put out the fires on the books that we actually started. Using our ice breath, we can freeze all 16. They're all pretty easy to find. After going through the level, we run into our old friend Zoe. She can't give us the heart since it powers the books, but if we can find certain items and restore the maintenance machine, she will give us the heart. These items are spread out in different lands. Inside the vault here, we can find Ripto's action figure for the Dragon Shores heart. After putting the fires out and returning the bubbles, she gives us a book about kangaroo history. You have no use for it yet, but you keep it. You then run into Dottie, who lets us know there's a red guy with horns in the XYZ section of the library. You run into Ripto, who is inside learning spells. When confronted, he summons a mini-boss and dips out. You can take out this mini-boss by flaming his head when he's coming towards you. Not extremely hard to defeat. After defeating him, he drops the fairy spell book that allows you to quickly escape back to Dragon Shores. At this point, you should have 4 out of 8 objects for the fairy library. The rest can be found later in the game. After you leave, you can run into Moneybags right outside, who will sell you a Spyro action figure for 300 gems. After that, you can use your quick escape. It'll take you to the Fairy Shrine, which allows you to get to the other spots in the map. You go right and go through Stormy Passage that leads you to the Dragon Coast region. Here you can find a beautiful flower. You don't have any use for it yet, but you hold on to it. We then run into Bertha, who lets us hop on the Fairy Ferry to visit Yeti Serengeti and Sergeant Bird's barracks. This takes us to our third land we visit, which is Yeti Serengeti. Upon arriving, there is a door on the left. When you try to go in, it's way too dark and you're forced out. After moving forward a little bit, you're met by Douglas, who needs help returning to his dig site. You then freeze a spring box so you and Douglas can jump onto the next set of cliffs. Doing so rewards you with the Yeti lamp, which allows you to see in dark caves. After progressing forward a little bit more into the area, you find a cave that you can enter. Entering has a set of 3 puzzles that you have to solve. Each puzzle is remembering the sequence they make noise in. After completing it, it takes you to a room with chests and a medal. You don't have use for the medal yet, but you keep it anyways. After finding the 2 buttons to enter Moneybags Vault, you find another action figure, this time being Sheila. This is used for the Dragon Shores heart. At the top of the land, you run into another old friend in Bentley. His heart is on the mountain, but he needs his climbing gear to get to it. So he sends us off with a list, and in exchange for finding everything, he will give us a heart. After exploring some more, we find some Yeti lettuce, which we don't have use for yet, but hold on to. At this point, you should have 4 out of 8 items. We then head into our 4th land, which is Sergeant Bird's barracks. We are quickly approached by Private Flap, who needs help getting to the other side of this water. You can freeze the walrus and use your wind ability to push yourself to the other side. After getting him to the other side, he gives you a super breath mint, which makes your icy breath powerful enough to freeze bodies of water. After freezing the water and progressing throughout the land, you run into Lieutenant Peck, who has a mission for us. He needs our help locating all 5 of his soldiers. There are paths around him that you can freeze. On the other side of each is a soldier. Doing so gives you a military outfit. You don't have any use for it right now, but you hold on to it. You also find a lovely flower. You don't have use for this yet either, but you hold on to it. This is the first land where you run into an air vent. After closing in on it, Sparks lets you know he will go inside and check it out. Inside the air vent, you find Sergeant Baird, who lost 10 of his men and had to go rescue them. I actually really enjoyed his missions in this game. Not super hard, but a lot of movement and combat. You find them in the cages, break the cages, and fly them back to the camp. After freeing all 10, you get half of a red key. Getting both sets will allow you to open up whatever color you have that same colored chest. After progressing further, you run into Major Feathers, who needs help bombing all the Rhynocs in the valley. I also really enjoyed this one, but just felt like it just took forever to finish. After completing it, you get your 3rd action figure for the Dragon Shore's heart. After finding both buttons, you can enter Moneybag's vault. Inside, there are chests and an item needed for the fairy library. We eventually ran into Captain Beak, who in exchange for finding all of his medals will give us his heart. At this point, we should have 6 out of 8 objects in this land. After returning to the Dragon Coast region, we then head into our 5th land, Rabbit Habitat. Upon entering, we run into Uncle O'Hare, who needs help putting himself back together. Right before we do so, though, the Rhynocs take him and split away. After finding both parts of Uncle O'Hare, we are given a spinning top of magical powers. This allows us to use Tornado Wind. We then run into Mo, who is in the pest control business. He needs help clearing out the critters. There are 50 of them that appear through the hats. Taking down all 50 gives us one of Sergeant Baird's medals. I thought this minigame was fun and unique, though it wasn't challenging. Later on, we find out we can use the Tornado Wind on the moles in the hats and allow us to shoot from the hats if we jump in. This allows us to move through the level much easier. After locating both buttons, we enter the Moneybags vault. Inside, we find some chests and find an item for MT. We have no use for this yet, but we hold on to it. We then run into Bianca, who needs plants to help magically open the container with the heart on it. She gives us our list and another quest is opened. At this point, we should have 3 out of 8 objects. After returning to the Dragon Coast region, we learn no other lands are available. So after returning to the main area, we see water that can be frozen that leads us into our 6th land, Banana Savannah. After entering, we are met by George, who needs help. He is stuck and has to get to work. You have to heat the root to open and close each plant. They take you different ways. After helping him across, he gives you a pepper. The pepper then gives you the super flame ability. After entering the primate plantation, you are met by Albert. He needs help taking out the rhino weeds. There are 10 in total, and you need to use your newly found super flame ability to hit them. After finding all 10, he gives you the user manual for the professor's library maintenance machine. We then run into Lance, who needs help locating the ingredients for banana fertilizer. Doing so, he will trade us the heart for. After progressing further into the level, we find berries that are needed for Bianca. We also run into another vent. This time it's Agent 9. We have to find and save 8 of his men. I really like Sergeant Baird's missions more. Agent 9's got better throughout the game since I learned how to do them, but some of them were buggy and I could not time my jumps and kept falling to my death. After freeing all 8 of the soldiers, we are given half of a green key. After finding the 2 buttons, we can enter Moneybags vault. Inside, we find a chest we cannot open, and we find the Rue Jewel. We have no use for it yet, but we still hold on to it. At this point, we should have 6 out of 8 objects. At this point, we are looking where to head next. We run back into the stormy passage, and Butler bursts out and starts attacking us. You have to lead him under 3 storm clouds to short-circuit him again. After defeating him, you can go through the cave that he came out of. Inside the cave is another baby toddler, but this time a thief has him. You chase him until you catch him, and he releases it. They claim they are only playing and he will return, but after catching him, he gives you magic powder that allows you to change into the last gem you found, which is pretty cool. The door on your left takes you into the next area. The 7th land we enter is Thieves Guild. Here we run into Greta, who says we're late for gym class. We have to race against 2 other thieves. The race is 3 laps. I originally struggled with this one, but once when you learn the track, you can beat it pretty easily. After beating it, you're given one of Sergeant Byrd's medals. After finding the two buttons, you can enter Moneybag's vault. Inside, you find this magical silver powder which helps bananas grow. This is for Lance and his heart in another chest. We then run into Master Thief, who needs help finding his tools so he can break into the vault and give us his heart. We also see Mr. Moneybag, who charges us 600 gems for a transporting device for the fairy library. We also get another Agent 9 mission. This one wasn't as bad as the first one, but still not a huge fan. We are given the other half of a red key, so now we can open red chests. We then go through a set of doors that leads us to Nikki, who needs help catching the bully and getting his toy back. After getting it back, we are allowed to keep it. It's an Agent 9 action figure for our Dragon Shore's heart. After all of this, we should have 6 out of 8 objects here. After we return to Stormy Passage, we head back to Dragon Coast region and find where we could shoot up a hill with the hat. After doing so, it takes us to Underground Pass, where we have a showdown against Ripto. This time you have to wait until he throws the bombs, and you have to bring it towards him to inflict damage. Doing this 3 times will defeat him. This took me a few tries, couldn't figure out how to damage him, and then moving the bombs was tougher than expected. He drops a Rhynocs clock, an item we need to bring to the professor. After defeating him, we are moving into the Dragonfly Oasis. After exploring for a while, we see a freezable spot of water and freeze it. This leads us into our next area. The 8th land we enter is Kangaroo Hoodoos. Upon entering, you can use your Super Flame to help shoot up the bridge so you can cross into the land. While stumbling through, you run into Janice, who needs help getting home. Using Super Flame as well in the remaining spots, you can make it through. Once we make it, she gives us a kangaroo carving, giving us the ability to use our Butt Slam ability. We then continue into the Outback, where we run into Annie, who needs us to ground pound the TVs that the Rhynocs put out. There's 10 in total. After destroying all 10, we're given powder to make bananas twice as yummy. This is for the Savannah Heart. As we're going through, we find a rose that Bianca needs. We also find a red chest that we can open that has a right glove in it. This is part of Bentley's climbing gear. After finding the 2 buttons and gaining entry into the vault, we find a lava lamp, but we don't have any use for it yet. After solving the 9-piece puzzle, we are given one of Sergeant Byrd's medals. At this point, we should have 6 out of 8 objects. We then return to the Dragonfly Oasis. Upon exploring, we venture into our 9th land, Moneybags Mansion. As usual, Moneybags charges 2,000 gems just to go view his mansion. After paying him, Butler jumps out and starts to attack us again. Standing on the white spots on the floor will activate the fountains. All 3 will take him out. After defeating him, Moneybags gives us a dynamo, which gives us lightning wind. Going through this room that Butler created and making it to the top floor, you can use your lightning wind on the generator and it'll shoot out Bentley's pickaxe. After leaving his mansion, there's a vent where Sergeant Byrd needs our help again. Like I've said already, I really prefer his missions to Agent 9's. After completing it, we are given the second half of the green key, which now allows us to open up green chest. Right outside of the vent, there's a green chest waiting for us. Inside is a small stone tablet for Sheila's museum. We then go back inside and enter his Hall of Majesty. Inside Moneybags lets us know we can hypnotize the cast into helping us navigate through his mansion. After progressing through, we have another Agent 9 mission. This one was super buggy. I had to quit and come back in after freeing 7 out of 8 of them. I couldn't get back up. After completing it, we are given half of a pink key. Moving through the map, we eventually run into the money tree, which is a plant Bianca needs. Right down those stairs is a green chest with another medal for Sergeant Byrd. After finding the 2 buttons and entering the vault, we can find a painting, but we don't have a use for it yet. We should have 6 out of 8 objects at this point. We then go outside and power up our ride to our 9th area, Cheetah Spa. We are met by Butch, whose snack is stuck in this machine. We then find the bomb and use them on the machine, which shoots out 2 healthy trees. This gives us an extra hit point for Spyro, which comes in handy. After going to the next area, we are met by Bruiser, who tells us the Rhynocs screwed up our exercise machines and needs help fixing them. After helping all 10, you get a travel brochure for the Kangaroo Museum. This one is really funny though. Watching them all run on the sped up treadmills was pretty comical. We then run into Hunter, who asks if we want a gym membership. Says he is willing to trade his heart for 7 really cool things. He then gives us a list of items to collect. We then run into Moneybags, who charges us 1,000 gems for some of the Master Thieves' tools. We then run to an event with Agent 9, who needs our help again. This one was probably the easiest one for me since we've already done this 3 other times. He then gives us half of a gold key. After progressing further, we run into Laura, who needs help clearing the Rhynocs. This minigame is fun and pretty easy, just really long. It is cool to glide around and flame them though. Doing so gives you a medal for Sergeant Bird. We then find a green chest which has a crowbar for the Master Thief. At this point we should have 7 out of 8 objects. We then return back to Dragon Shores where we power up the thing that allows us to enter the 10th area, Professor's Secret Lab. Actually just go straight to the next area though. We go through the rift to send us into our 11th area, Rhynocs and Clocks. Immediately there's a dragon toddler needing help getting down from a statue. We use the bombs we find nearby and bring it down. After bringing it down, it gives us things for sparks antennas to help grab and spot gems from farther away. We then enter their main area, Rhynocs Retreat. We run into Joe who needs help with pest control. Once again, we just need to clear 50 of them. Doing so gives us another one of Sergeant Bird's medals. After moving through more, we find another event for Sergeant Bird. This is probably one of the coolest map designs in a Spyro game yet. Super cool with all the trippy clocks in the background. After finishing, we are given the second half of the purple key, which allows us to open purple chests now. We then find a door that leads us to our 12th area, Chateau Ripto. After progressing through, we find a vent. Inside is Sergeant Bird rescuing his men. I thought the map was cool for this one. After finishing it, we are given the second half of the gold key. Right outside, there's a golden chest that we can now unlock. It has a bag of colorful powder. This allows us to change our color to red. Inside the vault is an old pottery made by primitive kangaroos. This is used for the Kangaroo Museum. We then stumble upon Mr. Moneybags, and for 1,600 gems, he gives us old magic dust that can turn us gold. We then go through a set of doors that leads us to our final rematch with Ripto. We have to use all 3 of our super abilities and force him to destroy the statues with said ability. This one took me a while, not gonna lie. I couldn't time the abilities and kept struggling to hit him. After hitting all 3 and putting Ripto in a daze, you can take back the golden statue of Ripto, which is the heart of the land, and the Professor's warping device. Right when Ripto comes back to and starts heading towards the Professor, the butler runs in and takes Ripto away. At this point, you should have all the objects in this area. We then return to the Professor's secret lab. Once inside, we find a pink chest that gives us another fertilizer ingredient for the monkeys. Towards the vault, we found a red chest with another powder for the bananas and monkeys. On the other side is another red chest with a cool wing for the cheetahs. Inside the vault is a handcard boomerang for the Kangaroo Museum. Inside the next area of his lab, there's a gold chest. Inside this chest is Phoenix Vision glasses, which will come in handy soon. After freeing the toddler, he gives you a dope snowboard for the cheetahs. You then use your glasses to teleport to the virtual hideaway to find the rest of the gems. At this point, you should have all the gems and all the items. We then return to the fairy library. Since we have all the keys now, we can unlock the remaining chests. There's a green chest here with a long rope made from Yeti hair. It belongs to Bentley. We also run into a red chest with a Bianca action figure. We then fly across the balcony to a pink chest that contains a light organ for the cheetahs. At this point, we have 7 out of 8 items. We then head into Banana Savannah and open the remaining chest. We find a red chest with a nail file in it from Master Thief. Then by the vent, a green chest with Bentley's left glove. At this point, we should have 7 out of 8 items. We then head back into Thieves Guild and open the remaining chest. There's a pink chest right when you come in that has an electric trophy for the cheetah spa. At this point, we should have 7 out of 8 items. We then head back into Sergeant Bird's barracks and open the remaining chest. There's a red chest on top of the hill that has a large red hat for Bentley. At this point, we should have 7 out of 8 objects. We then return to Yeti Serengeti to open the remaining chest. We first find a red chest next to one of the buttons for the vault. This one has a hunter action figure in it for the Dragon Shore's heart. There's another red chest near Bentley. This has a mechanical brush for the fairy library. We then find the pink chest with the powder inside for the fertilizer for the monkeys. At this point, we should have 7 out of 8 objects. We then return to Rabbit Habitat. We find a pink chest on a ledge with one of Bentley's shoes in it. We then locate a gold chest that has a coloring agent in it for bananas, used for the savannah. We then find a red chest near Bianca that has the other one of Bentley's shoes in it. And right above Bianca is the last red chest. This is a storage thing for the fairy library. At this point, you should have 7 out of 8 objects. We then travel back to Kangaroo Hondu's to open the remaining chest. Inside one of the caves is a green chest. Inside this chest is a hand drill for MT. At this point, you should have 7 out of 8 objects. We then travel back to Moneybags Mansion to find the remaining chest. At the very top corner of the level, you'll find old parchment for the Kangaroo Museum. At this point, you should have 7 out of 8 objects. We then return to Rhynocs and Clocks for the remaining chest. There's a gold chest in the corner that has a bag of colorful fun that turns you blue. Also a pink chest and gold chest up top with powder inside to make you green, and then white powder for the Savannah Banana Heart. At this point you should have all the objects here. We then return to Dragon Shores and enter a cave where the last dragon is waiting. Finding him will give you part of the machine for the fairy library and gives us the last dragon. At this point you should have all the objects in Dragon Shores. We then return to Fairy Library and link up with Zoe, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of the Fairy Library. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared this area. I really enjoyed this area. It was visually impressive and love that you could ride the bugs in the next spot. We then return to Banana Savannah and link up with Lance, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of Banana Savannah. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared the area. I really disliked this area though. I constantly got lost. I liked the idea of it, but I felt like it switched up the locations way too much. We then return to Thieves Guild and link up with Master Thief, who accepts our items and trades us with the Heart of the Thieves Guild. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared this area. I really liked this area. I thought the race was really cool, and it was really cool to see them living their lives and being allies again. We then return to Kangaroo Hoodoos and link up with Sheila, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of Kangaroo Hoodoos. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared this area. I didn't really like nor dislike this one. It felt really easy. We then return to Cheetah Spot Spa and link up with Hunter, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of Cheetah Spot Spa. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared this area. I really liked this area. I thought it was hilarious to watch him run on the treadmill, and also Hunter in his natural habitat was pretty cool. We then return to Rabbit Habitat and link up with Bianca, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of Rabbit Habitat. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared this area. I thought this place was cool. Using the wind on the hats and using them as movement was a cheeky addition. Also thought the design was super dope. We then return to Sergeant Bird's barracks and link up with Captain Beak, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of Sergeant Bird's barracks. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we have cleared this area, but this is by far my most disliked area. Not sure why I struggled so much with it, but constantly died here. We then return to Yeti Serengeti and link up with Bentley, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of Yeti Serengeti. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared this area. I was really disappointed that Bentley was yet again not a playable character. Overall, a very cool area. We then return to Dragon Shores and link up with Terry, who accepts our items and trades us the Heart of Dragon Shores. After doing this, we locate the virtual hideaway and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared this area. Thought the Dragon Shores portion of the game was beautiful. Really showed us the whole world, and it was really cool to see. We then return to Rhynocs and Clocks and Chatu Ripto and find the virtual hideaways and get the remaining gems. At this point, we've cleared these areas. Both of these areas run together for me. I thought it was cool to see Sergeant Bird in the Rhynocs and Clocks area, super trippy with the clocks in the background also. It was also really cool to see Ripto's area in his throne room. We lastly returned Mr. Moneybags in his mansion and trade him 3,500 gems for his Heart and Moneybag mansions. At this point, we've cleared this area. Cool area, screw Moneybags though. We then return to the professor, who seals away the rift and allows us to play some unlockable minigames in the menu. I thought going into this that this should be better than the Season of Flame and Ice games. I thought they improved each time and was very excited for this one. I immediately could tell they really switched up the style for this game. This was the first game so far where you had to complete quests and also return constantly to each area. Having to return for chests, return for the hearts, and return for the virtual hideaways to find all the gems was unique. Also cool that it gave you all the abilities again, but this time super abilities for each. Really liked how you had to find objects and they were all in different areas as well. And it always kept you moving and looking around. Also cool to finally see each of these characters in their homes and what goes on. Interesting to see the thieves once again not be enemies and more just people. Seeing Hunter in the spa was funny. We've never seen him out in the wild. I did enjoy Sergeant Bird's missions, but really dislike Agent 9's. Feels like he's been in so many of these games and it's almost copy and paste into each game what his missions are usually like. Still really wish you could use Bentley in another game besides Year of the Dragon. And there's still no appearance from Allura as well. I thought overall this was probably the best Spyro game outside of the original trilogy. Just so many different aspects of this game, and that just really made it intriguing to me. My overall rating for this game is an 8.5 out of 10. I really liked how they tried a whole new style in this game, and it really shows in my rating. Turned out to be a really fun game. The next game in this series has us staying on the Game Boy Advance. The next game is Spyro Orange, The Cortex Conspiracy. Be sure to keep your eye out for that gameplay. If you made it this far, please consider dropping a like, what you thought about the game, and a sub if you enjoy this type of content. Thanks for watching and have a great day.